Hi there, warriors, and welcome to the live stream. Well, the game's been gone. It's 1-0 to Argentina. It's a third straight defeat for Uruguay in the World Cup qualifiers, and it leaves Uruguay outside qualifying spots after 13 games. It was a game which obviously soon was decided. If you look after 90 minutes, it was after 6 minutes that Di Maria scored. Beautiful goal, we have to say. Poor play by Piqueres, who lost the ball, lost possession. Um, and Di Maria applies the finish. And then Uruguay basically were thinking, what are we going to do now? Because the game plan was clear. From the start, it was four defenders, five midfielders, because Brian Rodriguez and Nathan Hernandez were on the wings. It was a line of five, Torreira maybe a little bit below, but it was mainly five midfielders and then Suarez up top. So it was really pragmatic, conservative, and trying to hit Argentina on the break. But after this goal that was scored after 6 minutes, Uruguay had to play differently, and it was tough. You saw it because Argentina were keeping possession, and Uruguay they wanted obviously to attack because they were down, but they were in this shape which was trained on. And then luckily after the first 30 minutes were gone, Uruguay started to be more on the front foot, more pressing, getting Argentina pushed back, and it led to a big chance, a good moment for Suarez. He hit the post, and then the follow up was a chance, but he couldn't put it in. And Uruguay were starting to get better in the last part of the second half or the first half. So this momentum was we took it into the second half. I thought so, but the second half, first 15 20 minutes, Uruguay still were flat and couldn't get going. And then after some changes with I think Augusto Alvarez Martinez, he was subbed on and he had a good impact. Was really good to see Suarez get the partner because he was missing this whole game. We could see this. Suarez, I think he played well. He was unlucky with some of his shots, but Suarez needs a partner. And we were saying this in the preview. We were saying this before. Suarez needs a partner. He can't be alone up top. And when Canario came in, was important and he played well in my opinion. And Uruguay started to get better, started to apply some pressure, and we were having some chances, not some big chances, but not a lot of chances. There were not chances that were created by great attacking play. It was trying to get the ball in the box. Sometimes a ball falls between two players and then Uruguay player has a chance. So there was no offensive play which was brilliant. But it was basically showing some character, some fight to get this point or get a result. Because obviously you're playing at home against Argentina, you want the result. In the end, Uruguay couldn't get it, and it stayed 1-0, which leaves Uruguay, like I said, in sixth position, winless in the last three games, 1 point out of the last possible 12, and that's a bad moment. However way you want to spin it, it's a bad moment. We can say, okay, Uruguay played better than last international break, and for sure this was the case. I would be a fool to deny and to not say that Uruguay improved on the last international break. So we can take this forward and we take it to La Paz to Bolivia, needing a result because you know what, 5 games left to play. I was not expecting Uruguay to win today, so it's not like it's a shock. It's not like I'm surprised. But the fact remains that you are being beaten by Argentina at home. You have been beaten twice by Argentina and Brazil in this qualifying campaign, and you are sixth. Sixth after 13 games. And with the squad we have, that is not good enough. And we will qualify. I believe it is still, but it's not good enough. And today, although we showed more character, for sure we showed more character, more willingness to score, willingness to attack, to say it. And these are things that are should be mandatory. Every team should have it. Every team should have character or willingness to work hard to attack. So it's not like this is something that I say, okay, well done Tabares, because that's not the case. Because the tactical setup from the start was poor, really poor. And Martin Caceres playing, I mean, come on. There was not a footballer anymore. Come on. Honestly, how many balls he misplaced and he just screwed up. Godin, I have to give credit to Godin, played a really good game. especially in attack. When he was stepping up with the ball, trying to get forwards into play, was really good. Diego Godin. I mean, I still don't believe he should be a starter for Uruguay, but this was a good performance. We could all see it. And then Vecino, and Bentancur and midfield and Torreira. I think Torreira and Bentancur, especially Bentancur, played really well. Vecino, I don't think he's good enough, and I've said this before, and I didn't think he played really well. Then you look at the sides, Brian Rodriguez and Nath Hernandez. I think they were really poor, um, really poor. And with Nath Hernandez, a lot of people love him, including me, because he gives everything. And this was also the case, but this should not blind you to the fact that he was really poor tonight, really poor. Some just reckless challenges he could have been. It was a miracle that he didn't get a yellow. And in front of goal, he was also poor. He passed when he had to shoot, and he shot when he had to pass. So, but okay, this was the case. And then Brian unlucky again. Brian unlucky, and yeah, and then Suarez up top. He had some good moments, but couldn't capitalize on some chances, and that's a shame. So thanks for all for being here in the chat. Let me know your opinion about the game. And how do you think? What do you think is next for Uruguay? How is this going to go? 5 games left to play. How is this going to pan out? Are we going to qualify? How are we going to play against Bolivia? What is your opinion? Because this is a situation which just it's not nice. It's it gives you a little bit of stress or a lot of stress. In my case, to be honest. Okay, Jaffe M says Uruguay showed glimpses of how they could be under a good manager. Yeah, true. You know what? Uruguay pressed sometimes, but it was not. This was not a calculated press. This was just basically Martin Cáceres sometimes going past the midfield and pressing like a madman, and everybody following him behind, not in a structural way, but purely in a way of desperation. It was a performance, and the press was not based on a type of structure or a way of playing. It was on desperation to get the result, to get the goal, to get something. And I like this to see in the team. But like you say, it was not done by coaching. And obviously, these players like Bentancur played really well. I think Rodrigo de Paul from Argentina was the best player on the pitch. Was so good. He was so good, Rodrigo de Paul. But Bentancur for me was a close second because he was quality on the ball. Quality when he received the ball between players, always aware of where the option left or to the right was to pass. Um, so he was so good in possession, and also his last ditch tackle, his heroic tackle, which now means he's injured. And let's hope it's nothing much because we need him against Bolivia. But this tackle just shows the type of sacrifice he always also has. So Bentancur, great performance, and I've criticized him as well before because I think sometimes he deserved it, but today he was brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Um, Jamie Drummer says from 30 minutes to the end we saw a bit more, but not enough. Yeah, you're right. We saw a bit more. We saw some willingness, some courage. But I also said it on Twitter. We saw some character, but little quality. And like I said a few minutes ago, the chances that we created, they were not down to brilliant attacking play. They were not down to a style of play of a way of attacking, like an overlap from the left back and the midfielder receives it, great ball in between the lines, left back cuts it back for a strike, and then we have a chance. So there need not these patterns that we saw. They were basically moments where a cross was coming from the left to the right, and it was a chance. So there was a scrappy situation in the box where a striker or a midfielder came to the ball first. So, and these are moments obviously you have to capitalize on. So we should have taken our chances, and we should have got a point. But I just want to say the point that was not down to a great coaching performance. It was down to the players wanting this result, and we didn't get it, and that's a shame. Jamie Drummond, why are Caceres shorts so baggy? He always has it. He always has this, and yeah, it's just his style, I guess. Brian couldn't win a 1v1 for his life. Javi M says, "Yeah, I mean Brian just he wasn't on it, and I always, I mean I know it's an easy target, and he's not been doing so well in the last few games for Uruguay, but you know what? he's almost being played as a second left back sometimes, Brian Rodriguez today. And he's a winger. You need to give him the freedom. And he always comes up against two or three opponents when he has the ball. So it was not an easy game for him. I mean, he should have done better, obviously. And he was subbed off. And I think Facundo Torres, who came in, who I believe is also a brilliant talent, he wasn't good as well. I mean, besides his set piece delivery with his left, which was atrocious, in possession, in a dribble, he was not good as well. So I don't think it's a case of Facundo Torres not being good enough or Brian Rodriguez not being good enough. I think it's a case of they're playing in a system and that is not working for them because they are players who need freedom to express themselves as the attacking players they are with creativity, with 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 speed and with some quality, and they couldn't do it today. Um, Brian Shea says corner kicks are launched with no strategy and the players don't battle. Yeah, I mean the corner kicks were just. This was a thing. The set piece was a thing that Uruguay were so good on before with Carlos Sanchez and with Godin and Cáceres as the headers, Jimenez as well. And I mean, it's been a long time since we have scored from a set piece. I think because and besides that, it's not like we even threatening. Just uh, it's just not good enough. And these are things you can work on, even if you are training for 3 or 2 days. You can work on this, and it doesn't happen. And that's just yeah, was really bad, honestly. Jamie Drummer says Uruguay will scrape the World Cup and go out at the group stage. That's what I see, unfortunately. Yeah, could happen. Absolutely. This team has not progressed as we could have had. I mean, when you saw play, okay, Argentina, we can say they are in a better moment, but they played some good football today. Sometimes, not always, because they didn't have a great performance. But you saw that there was some. They can play some good football, obviously. But this is a team that 3 years ago they were basically on the same level or even less than we are. Uh, I don't know. You have to say me. Do you hear the rain? Because it's raining here, and hopefully you don't hear it, and it doesn't interrupt my speech. But if this is the case, just tell me, please. It's raining really hard there. So, um, Nicolas Andrade says, I don't think I can bring myself to watch the World Cup if Uruguay isn't in it. No, well, probably I will watch it, but it's not the same. It's just not the same. I mean, no, it's not. I mean, it's like, I mean, how can you compare it? I don't know how to compare it. I wanted to find an analogy, but I can't. But that wouldn't be the same. It just wouldn't be the same. Uruguay looks pedestrian, reacting, not creating. Yeah, that's always the case with Uruguay. Not, we showed the initiative after we were down. Obviously, the first few minutes, yeah, you are aggressive. You try something, but this is normal when you play at home. This is normal. This is normal for a team that you start the game and you get boom, you get into the faces. But this was 3 minutes, 3 minutes, and then it was flat. And then they scored the goal, and then it took another half an hour before we reacted, and we did react, but it was not enough at the end of the day. Adjai Gulsar says it is really painful watching Uruguay fail to find the back of the net against Argentina in official matches again and again. Yeah, that's true. I mean, the friendly in Israel was 2-2, but like you say, official matches. This is now 1-0. It was 3-0, 3-0 again in Argentina. It was 1-0 in the Copa. It was nil-nil. No, it nil-nil in the 2017 qualifier. So last 4 games, no goals, and yeah, that's not good. Danny F says Facundo Torres on set pieces was horrifying. Yeah, it was. Brian Rodriguez is an MLS flop, but starts on Uruguay. Yeah, Brian Rodriguez has had some great games for Uruguay. But I always found it weird as well that he was called up ahead of Diego Rossi, while Diego Rossi was the star of LAFC, and Brian Rodriguez did not break through. And Brian is doing better now. And I think still he's a really talented player. But something has to click for him. It's not like he has a lot of potential, but it has not clicked yet in his career. And when it clicks, I think you have a scary player. But at this moment, it's not this. This is not the case, and so then it's frustrating. Arambari didn't bring anything. Well, I think Arambari is a good player, and I think in some cases he was okay and he did some good things. But what I really, I mean, I remember watching this. So Suarez was in space on the left, and Suarez found Arambari in space in a lot of space in the midfield. So Arambari basically 30 yards out from goal. He walks ahead and he shoots. Honestly, he shoots when you have two players to the right, a striker running through on goal, and I mean, oh, I'm like this facepalm, double facepalm. It's just that just winds me up so much when players take shots out of ridiculous positions when other players are available. So this I did not like, but Arambari I do like. To be honest, he's a good player, and but you know what? Uruguay ended the game with Torreira, Arambari, and Gorarian. All three of them are holding midfield players. Gorarian, okay, he can play box to box, but Gorarian played on right midfield, on right wing back basically. So that does not make sense anyway, you know. So that's also the case. It was just that, like I said before, it was desperation. Uruguay created and were dangerous out of the desperation to get a point, get something, not out of something which was planned, which was a type or style of play. Was desperation, was going all out, and yeah, we almost got something, and we deserve to get something. Let's get that right. We deserve to get a point, but we did not get a point. And the reality is, like I said, we are outside of the qualifying places, and we have 5 huge games ahead of us, and it's gonna be stressful. Yeah. By the way, thanks all 14 people here. That's a lot. Thanks for you all being here. Please like the video. It helps me out a lot, and also subscribe to the channel for more. Yeah, and let me know your opinion. I see a lot of comments, and I will go through them all. But let me know your opinions on the game, and yeah, and what maybe should be changed next game, because we played like this today, and I have some clear things which I would change, and I already said it, and I already said it before the game. But let me know your opinion about what should we change. How should we play against Bolivia? And yeah, let me know. If a new or Jamie Drummer says, if a new younger manager came in, what would be the starting 11? Be combining the old and the new. So if a new manager comes in, so let's say I'm that manager. I'm a young manager doing really well. I mean, to be honest, I was Champions League winner with Everton one time on FIFA. So don't count me out. No, just joking, obviously. But if have to make a decision, um, I would play like this. So Muslera is the goalkeeper. I don't agree with it as well, but Muslera, I have to be realistic a little bit. I can't just go all. I can't just make all decision of what I want. I have to be realistic and think what will happen. So Muslera is the goalkeeper. You can say Campagna, but I think at this moment there's no clear replacement for Muslera. So Muslera. Then I would play right back Damian Suarez. Center back, I would play Ronald Arajo, and our center back Jimenez. And you know what? Coates probably deserves to be ahead of Arajo maybe on the current moment. But I'm looking at the future. And Arajo is certainly more of the future. Coates is already 31. But Coates at this moment is probably the best Uruguayan centre back in terms of continuity and consistency, because Jimenez is injured a lot of times and Coates is last 18 months been fantastic. But let's say Arajo, Jimenez. Left back, I would play Alfonso Espino, been absolutely fantastic in La Liga this season and deserves it. I mean, Piqueres is a talented boy, and Viña as well. But we've seen Piqueres today and Viña before. They are not ready to be the starting left back. And Espino, like Olasa, these have proven themselves in one of the best leagues in the world football. So give them a chance. I mean, it's not that hard, right? I mean, we all see it. Like Espino has been a revelation this season, so I would play Espino. Then I would play Torreira as holding midfielder. I would play Bentancur and Valverde ahead of him. In the number 9 position, I would play Suarez or Cavani. One of these two, not both. Doesn't work in my opinion. To the left, I would play Darwin Nunez, and Darwin Nunez would be more of an. He plays like this for Benfica. For Benfica, he plays from the left. The Yaremchuk is the striker, and Darwin Nunez basically is a second striker. So he occupies a lot of spaces which a striker does, but he also drops to the wide positions because he's really good at creating danger from these positions. So Darwin from the left. The right is my most difficult thing, my most difficult position, because we have a lot of talented young players like Brian Ocampo, Facundo Torres, Brian Rodriguez, Diego Rossi as well. But I think Diego Rossi is more of a kind of a striker, not really a winger. So, but a lot of young wingers we have coming up. Um, you can also say Leonardo Fernandez. He can play from the right, but he has to play first for Tigres, and he doesn't do that. But the right wing position, there are a lot of options. So I would not know precisely who I would play there. But this is kind of the team I would play like. So yeah, I think it's better than what we are playing right now. But yeah, that's just my opinion. Loca the Lion says Torres shouldn't be given the set pieces. To be honest, all his corners and free kicks were bad. Yeah, true. And I didn't, you know what? I didn't know why Lucas Torreira is not on the set pieces, because for Sampdoria, he used to always do this, and he had some really good deliveries. And I know it's like 4 years ago, but when you if you got a good technique, a good set piece technique, it doesn't just vanish overnight. So he can do it. But yeah, um, okay. Um, Let me have a look. Who do you think was our man of the match? Says Loca the Lion. I think Bentancur was our best player. Yeah, and flop of the match says Jimmy Drummer. It's not never a nice thing to say, but I have to be honest, and it's between Piqueres and Caceres, and maybe Nandes, because. But I would not go too far with Nandes. Nandes didn't play well, but it was not a flop. But Caceres and Piqueres, I thought they were the two worst performing. Yeah. And Brian, yeah, you can say Brian Rodriguez. Danny F doesn't doesn't think Brian has had a good game. I can see from the comments, and I do believe that you are right. But I think the circumstances that were given to him, playing basically as a second left back, and yeah, was hard for him. It was really hard in the position he was playing. So I would say Piqueras or Caceres. Diego Vasquez says, I missed the match because I had to do a school exam. How did we play? Well, first, hope your school exam went well. Um, Probably went better than the game. No, to be honest, we did not play that badly. We deserved a point based on our yeah, the chances that we did have. But Di Maria with a beautiful goal decided the game, and 1-0 to Argentina. That's the way the cookie crumbles, unfortunately. Um, Brian Ocampo and Diego Rossi would be better than Brian Rodriguez. Yeah, these are alternatives, obviously, and they might do a better job. Canobio needed, says Javi M. Well, Canobio has done so well for Peñarol this season. I was a bit surprised that he was not called up after all these injuries. I would thought that Tabares would call up local players, but he hasn't done yet. Could still do this, but we will see. Um, Let me scroll a little bit because I'm falling a little bit behind. Um, okay. Drummer Diego Martinez says Picores and Viña zone out of games too much. They also aren't physical enough. Yeah, I see what you mean. And the thing is, Picores and Viña are both similar age, and 20 to 23. So when you're this age, this is common, for young players, and certainly for fullbacks and for central defenders. It's so important to keep your concentration, because this is what's killing you basically. Because physically, or I mean, like strength, okay, they can work both, but like physically in terms of running, like stamina, they are obviously on a good level. But concentration and being aware tactically, these are things that when you are young, they need improvement most of the times. So for fullbacks, you cannot zone out, because when you're playing against tricky or smart wingers, then this will cost you. And this is why a player like Espino, who is way more mature in his play, in his style of play, and is also better in quality than these two, should be getting a chance. But we all know this, and that is just fucking frustrating. I'm sorry, but I can't get my head over the fact that Caceres also was playing ahead of Damian Suarez. Just how can you how can you do this? I mean, honestly, just how stupid are you to play Martin Caceres instead of Damian Suarez? Honestly, that is just honestly. Okay. Speaking of Coates, will he get one more big move from Sporting to one of Europe's big boys? No, because Coates is at home basically. He's 31, 30 years of 31 or 30 years of age. I'm not sure now, but he's a legend there, the captain, champions with them now in the Champions League. I don't think he will move there. I think he will maybe retire there, or maybe he will go to Nacional and retire. But Coates is at home in Sporting, at a beautiful club in a beautiful league, and I'm happy for him because I like him a lot. Okay, Danny F says the front line. He would like De La Cruz, the right wing, Darwin striker, and Rossi left wing. So I'm probably, yeah, you're probably thinking about the future, and I agree. These are good options. Yeah, and Darwin. I mean, if Darwin keeps continuing his development like this, he will play soon, obviously. Um, but Diego Martinez says De La Cruz doesn't work well out wide, loses a little bit of presence in the reaction to Danny F's comments, and I kind of agree. I think he can do it, but Gallardo played him as a central midfielder lately, and more even deep lying, this whole like holding a little bit, and he's so good in his position. And De La Cruz is someone who is really versatile, so it's a shame we miss players like De La Cruz, De La Scayeta, and Valverde, who maybe could have given this extra edge today. But that's the case, you know. That's the way it is. Yeah, Diego Vasquez says Torreira is so good on set pieces. Even at Arsenal, they let him take quite a few. Yeah, that's true. This is one of his qualities, and why not use his quality? Just doesn't understand it. Yeah. By the way, for everybody who's just joined in, happy to have you here. Let me know your comments. Let me know your feelings about the game. What should change when we look at the next game, and please subscribe to the channel for to watch more content, and also like the video. Let's get it to 10 likes if we can. We now are 7 likes, so to 10 likes would be fantastic. um Jose Jimenez gave Di Maria too much space on the goal, says Danny F. You could say this, yeah. And when I was watching the goal, I thought, okay, Piqueres makes a mistake, but Piqueras makes a mistake, and still there has to be a moment or a possibility to cut the danger out. And Jimenez did leave a little bit of space to, or a little bit, quite a lot of space to um, to Di Maria. But I think Jimenez was a little bit caught off guard when Piqueras lost the ball. So he was too late to cover the space and to cover the angle. And to be honest, Di Maria, I mean, this is a goal, unstoppable, beautiful goal, and it's just a shame that it was against us. Let me have a look. Um, Alessandro Vina says it's not anger, but instead a set of sense of disappointment. Yeah, for sure. I mean, the anger, I felt a lot of anger when Uruguay were beaten by Brazil and Argentina in the way they were beaten. Today, you cannot be angry. Okay, you can be, obviously, because we lost, but it's more disappointment because we could have had a result, we could have had a point, and you can't really fault the players for this game. I mean, you can fault the manager for certain things, but it's like you said, more disappointment than anger. Jamie Drummer says, "Have injuries stalled Jimenez's form? As few years ago, he was considered one of the best young centre back in the world. Obviously, injuries have not been good for him for sure. But this season, at the start of the season, he has been in fantastic form. Then he picked up another injury, and that's just a shame. Hopefully, he can keep injury free. But we always know this is a risk with him. But I still think when Jimenez is fit, he is one of the best central defenders in world football." Daniel says Damian Suarez just gets called up for vacation. He doesn't even play. Yeah, honestly, I mean, he could just better stay in Madrid at Getafe and train for these games. And this is why when Coates was injured, so he was meant to obviously play for Uruguay or be in the squad because we know he doesn't play often. So when he was injured, I was thinking my first reaction was, that's a shame. I like Coates. I think he's such a great player and he would be so good for us. Then my second thought was, well, that it might be true, but I know we all know Coates will not play. He might play a game here and there, or he might play a few minutes, but he will never be a starter, while he should be. So in this sense, I was thinking, well, to be honest, I mean, I want to I want to see him play for Uruguay, but while because I know he will not play, I was thinking, well, this might be better for him. Just recover from your injury and be fit again, because you're not playing anyway, which is obviously a shame, but it's the truth. Um, so, um, Diego Martinez says, by the way, I honestly didn't know Torreira was playing until halftime. Yeah, he was not really present. I did notice because I think he had some good plays, some good interceptions. But the thing is, that's the and this is really cliche, but that's good for a holding midfielder or somebody who has to control the game. It's quite good when you don't know he plays, because, or maybe not, but I think sometimes can be like he's like this um, com- silent element of the team which keeps all other elements together, and which is the glue. And he was not really present. He was not really getting on the ball that much, but I think he played well still. Jamie Drummer says the jersey behind you, Gomez. What's gonna happen with him? Yeah, I mean that's a shame. I still think it's a shame. Celta, he came 2 seasons, scored like 30 goals in total. Was really promising. Then he went to Valencia. We all were thinking maybe he can take this next step. He came there. Their manager Marcelino was a great manager in my opinion, still is. Now play for it at the Athletic de Bilbao, and he was gone in a few weeks. And since then, Valencia has been a joke, a circus, and Maxi should be doing better, obviously, but the club he's playing for and the type of team he's playing for does not help. So I honestly hope he will move, and cannot even be to a team that is lower down the table, but just he can play in a team that is just a team, and it also plays for him to create chances, because it's not the case in Valencia. So this is a shame, because I really like Maxi. Um, Brian Shea says, "You're going live if Uruguay blows it in Bolivia, right?" Well, I'm going live anyway, so yeah, I have to be. I will go live, but I don't. I want to be going live after a win, because honestly, it's now been three, like three straight live shows or match reactions, whatever you want to call it, where we have lost. So it's getting a bit tiring to be honest. Diego Martinez says, "I'm going to watch the Bolivia game with an oxygen tank to support our players." Well, that's dedication, I have to say. That's going to be interesting as well. And obviously, last qualifying campaign for the 2018 World Cup, Uruguay beat Bolivia for the first time in history, I think. So, I mean, a repeat of this would be, I mean, it's necessary, and it would also be something beautiful. Let's hope. We can all always keep the hope. Let's always do this. Leburu says, why doesn't Tabares address the predictability problem in Uruguay's overall play? Isn't that a problem in his eyes? It's a good point, and it's the point we all know, and we all see it, because sometimes Uruguay play well, but like I said about today, did Uruguay play well because we have some certain style of play, some patterns of play? Like I said, a left back overlapping, a winger dropping in between the lines, trying to play with the midfielder spotting the pass to the left back cutting back to the striker, goal. This movements in between players, this interplay, which leads to chances. Which is being trained on, which is being instructed on. Is this happening? Do we see this? No, we don't. We don't. So it leaves, like Leburu says, it leaves a game plan or a type of play or overall play which is predictable, which is, yeah, passing a little bit, pass to the left, maybe try a beautiful ball over the top, some true ball, but it's nothing structural. It's not a structure. It's not a structure of not a fixed game plan, a fixed style of play. But when you have players like Suarez, like Bentancur, like Valverde, a lot of other players who are quality, who are playing in the biggest clubs in the world of football, who are being important players there, yeah, for sure you're gonna win games. You're gonna score goals because they have individual quality, which teams like Peru, like Ecuador, like Bolivia, like Venezuela, like Paraguay, like Chile don't have that much. Colombia maybe, but also not as much as we have. So you're gonna win games. You're gonna score goals, but you're not gonna be you're not progressing as a team. You're not getting closer to the level of where you want to be, which is competing for the big titles. And this is a problem in my eyes. Um, Rossi definitely deserves a chance over Cabecita. He's not done much for Uruguay. Yeah, I mean, I think Cabecita is getting a little bit into the category of Stuani, in a sense that he has a thankless task. He thankless. So it's like he has some minutes he comes on, and he has to rescue something because when he comes on, Uruguay are losing, so he needs to do something. He needs to hopefully get a goal. But it's difficult. You come into a team, Suarez or Cavani are already up top, so you basically have to make something out of nothing. So it's difficult. So I would not go too hard on him, but I do believe, yeah, Nico Lopez, Diego Rossi, players like this, a little bit different, more technical, uh, well, better on the ball, maybe a little bit less pure goal scorers, but they can score goals and they also can create. But these type of players, yeah, maybe they deserve a chance, and because they can do better. And I also do believe this. Jamie Drummer says, "Is Tabares leaving after this World Cup, or does anybody know yet?" So, like the worst kept secret in Uruguay is that he, well, I don't know if it's a secret. I don't know if it's really true, but the sense I get from what I've been reading and what I've been hearing all these years is that he will end his career after the 2022 World Cup. So yeah, let's see if this happens. Hopefully, he can lead us to the World Cup. I mean, it has to be an obligation, but we will see. Diego Vasquez says, as of right now, where do you rank Uruguay in CONMEBOL? So I would, when I'm looking at on paper, the squads on paper, taking away all what is happening on the field, which type of manager we have. But when I look at the squad on paper, Brazil is number one, Argentina is number two, but Uruguay are really close to Argentina, I think. Okay, you can say Argentina might have a better squad at this moment, but I don't think it's a lot of difference. Then I think Colombia, who comes below Uruguay, and then it's Ecuador, Paraguay, Chile, Peru. I don't think there's a lot of difference between the squads. Not a lot, For sure there will be. And then the last two is Venezuela and Bolivia. But Uruguay should, in my opinion, with the squad we have, be comfortable. And I'm not saying like easy because they're like we all know there's not an easy qualifying section. It's not easy to qualify from South America, but they should be more comfortable, maybe on like 20, 22, 23 points in this qualifying campaign. But what is the case now is that like I will see here is like Chile on 16, Colombia on 16, Uruguay 16, Peru 14, Paraguay 12, Ecuador even more on 20. Uruguay are involved in this fight with a lot of teams which do not have the squad we have. So that is underperforming. And we might, or I think we will qualify. But if we look at the squad we have, um, we are not doing good enough. We aren't where we should be with the squad we have. And that is down to the coach. Simply, that's just down to coach 100%. And I was thinking while watching this game, because when Argentina scored 1-0, I thought this could go two ways. Uruguay can react, and it took a little while, but they did react. Did not react in scoring goal, but yeah, we got stuck in. Let's say it like this, or it could turn ugly. Brazil or sorry, Argentina could pull away. And I was thinking to myself also about what I would say, and I would say, do you really think? And I still believe this, but do you really? There are still people who think Tavares is the right manager for Uruguay, and I would say Give me a reason. Give me the explanation. And I'm happy it did not come to this, because it's a little bit toxic, you know. I don't like to put comments out like this, but it still just baffles me how there are people who are believing that Tavares is the right man. And there was uh, like how do you say it, a vote, you know. People were asked of their opinion, should Tavares be a manager still in this for this World Cup qualifiers, and 40% said yes, 40% said no, and the rest didn't have an opinion. So yeah, I'm of these 40% obviously who don't agree with it, but yeah. Okay. Okay. Who do you see winning the World Cup anyway? If you had to put a bet down, Jamie Drummer. I don't know, honestly. I think France could win, Brazil could win, obviously. These are the two favorites, in my opinion. But I don't know. Um, Uruguay, if we qualify, I will put the bet down on Uruguay. I, I will do it. Will it happen? Probably not, but I will certainly put a bet down for Uruguay. Who in this Uruguay team hasn't lived up to your expectations? I'm sorry, in the last few years. Let me have a think. So let's me have a look. It's a hard one. Because I'm also thinking about the context in how they are in what type of team they are playing, in how they are being played. Like for example, Jorge Arqueta. There are a lot of people who don't like him in the national team and who think he's not good enough. And he says, "Oh, it's a pecho frio. He only shows it for Flamengo. Doesn't show it for Uruguay." But I'm always saying then, and also I defend him because I really like him, but I also defend him because I think there is a case to be defended. Not just as I'm not just someone who has an agenda and who defends his players or his teams without any logic or any objectivity. So I defend him on the basis that a lot of times when he plays for Uruguay, he plays as one of the wide midfielders, like Brian Rodriguez played today, and he's basically being tasked with so many defensive work. He almost has no creative freedom, but to express himself and to do what he can do best, which is create for others, score goals. So this is like 80% of his Uruguay career. He's been played out of position. And the two games, for example, where not last international break, but before, where he performs and he does well. Um, so I would not even say he's an underperformer or he has not met the expectations. So I think it's a hard one. I'm sorry, I cannot answer this straight away. So yeah, Jamie Drummer also says, "What do you think of the Dutch team currently?" Couldn't care less, honestly. I think it's nice that Louis van Gaal is back because he's funny, you know, arrogant but funny. But I'm not really. I don't watch the games of the Dutch team, to be honest. Okay, I think I'm gonna end it here. We're getting a bit off topic talking about the Netherlands, Spain, but I really appreciate every one of you with the comments. Really enjoyed it as always. Talking to you about the most beautiful team in the world, who doesn't always play the most beautiful football of the world. Let's be honest. Um, but yeah, on Tuesday, a game against Bolivia will be played. Big game, obviously in La Paz on the mighty height of Bolivia. And yeah, Uruguay need the result, just like we needed it today. Didn't happen. Uruguay have dropped out of the qualification places, and now we need wins. 5 games left to play. Are we going to Qatar, or aren't we? With this team, you should think we should go to Qatar, but it's all to play for. There's no guarantees, and it's gonna be a tough few games. So I want to thank all of you for being here, bearing with me, voicing your opinions with some great comments, some good chat. I would ask you if you want to subscribe to the channel. Would really appreciate it, and to like the video if you want. And hopefully you can enjoy the rest of your day or your night. And I will speak to you very soon. Bye bye.